Why and how manifesting a relationship as a sensitive person is different from manifesting other goals. So the reason why manifesting relationships becomes a different process than manifesting other goals is because different pieces of the manifestation process are emphasized when you're manifesting material goals versus a relationship with another person. There are many different steps of the manifestation process, and it's too detailed to go into all of it here, but I'll tell you the pieces that are a little bit different when you're manifesting a goal, such as writing a book or getting a job, why that is different from manifesting a relationship. And the reason why, it's because you have to lean back when you're trying to manifest a relationship rather than lean in. Now, if you study manifestation, there are pieces in every single manifestation that require leaning in and leaning back, and it completely depends where you are in the process of manifestation. For example, you lean in to the effort and getting things done and being a leader when you're writing a book, for example. You have to show up every day, you have to write. When you're creating a social media presence, you have to film on a regular basis. You have to be willing to reach out to people. And that is leaning in. But when you're looking for a romantic relationship, you actually have to do the opposite. You need to practice extreme self-care and lean back from pursuing others, especially when you're a sensitive person. Now, what happens when nobody pursues? Doesn't there have to be a pursuer? And I would say yes. The person who is a bit more left-brained and a bit more logical needs to always be the one who pursues. And usually when it's a dynamic between a straight man and a straight woman, it's usually the woman that's more likely to be intuitive and leaned back. And it's usually the man who is leaned forward and going to pursue, but it doesn't always happen like this. So it's very stereotypical in 1950s to always assume that it follows this pattern. However, women may have tried going the other way. Maybe we believed ourselves to be very logical and very analytical, and we've leaned in, only to find out that the relationships we're trying to pursue weren't working. And that's because we were going after men who were more logical than we were. So as women, we usually have a strong sense of intuition, but that doesn't mean men don't have it too. What happens in the process when we're trying to manifest a relationship is that we need to prioritize our own self-care and our own journey, our own priorities first before we go outward as a sensitive person. And if we're taking care of those priorities and we're showing ourselves that self-love, then we're more likely going to find the relationship that we're hoping for on the outside. If we don't take care of our own priorities, we don't take care of our own self-love, we don't end up manifesting the relationship we had hoped. And I'll share how I learned this through a story. So I had a very interesting upbringing when I was young. My mom was a very strong feminist, very logical, very analytical. And my grandmother on my mom's side was very intuitive, very good at manifesting. She read tea leaves. But my mom took a different path. And I believe the reason why she did that is because she saw my grandmother suffering a lot in her life. And it's a very long story. It's very personal. But the way my mom raised me was to be very logical and very analytical, very pushed out, which is great for being an academic. It's great for studying in school and getting ahead and getting university degrees. Excellent, excellent upbringing for that. However, I did not really learn the life lessons when I was a child that I needed to learn in order to have romantic relationships. In fact, my parents said it best when I asked about what sex was when I was about 7 years old. Somebody had talked about it in the class. My parents gave me a mechanical explanation as to what sex was and then proceeded to say, Leah, this is something you do not need to worry about for an extremely long time. Don't even look at this area of your life or engage until you're in your 20s and you're at university. That was their whole attitude about it. They're very, very strict. So I really didn't learn the skills on how to manifest a relationship at all from my upbringing. So as a feminist, as a strong academic and extremely smart girl, I thought I would be the leader. Like I literally thought that, even as young as 10 years old, that would be the normal way it would work, according to my upbringing, according to what I knew from my family, which is very interesting because as I've gotten to know women now, they actually learned a lot of different life lessons than I did. And I had to go through learning how being the leader hurts you when you're manifesting a relationship as a sensitive person at a very young age. So when I pushed outward looking for somebody, that's when I got rejected and I encountered a lot of suffering. And it took me a long time to realize that it was that outward push that was getting me in trouble. Anytime I was just studying and I was just happy with who I was and the successes I had achieved, especially when I got into a competitive program in university, the men would come to me. And then it was just up to me to discern who was the right vibration for me. And that still was another life lesson, another big hurdle that I had to really learn and study and accomplish in order to have healthier relationships in my life. So even if you learn to let people come to you as a sensitive, once you've learned that, you still have to learn how to be discerning. You have to learn how to pick who's really a healthy match for you when they do come to you. And when you learn those life lessons, that's when you really start mastering the manifestation of self-love, and you save that energy you'd want to push outward to change people, to get people to love you, to get people to marry you or take care of you, or whatever desire you have, and you learn to put it into your own projects. That's a piece of manifestation you need to get yourself out of bed early in the morning, to get yourself writing your book, to get yourself achieving your goals or changing your jobs or moving to another city if you need to move in order to achieve that success. And when you channel that energy correctly in the right place, that is when you truly love yourself and you know how to manifest both in the relationship realm and in the external achievement realm. You need both in life. Even if you are a sensitive person, every single person needs a little bit of both. But depending on who you are, you have to know how to really apply those skills. Then you've got everything.